In this video, we will continue where we left off and explore the other implicit animations that are available within Flutter. However, we will focus on the curve property for these implicit animations. The curve property is an important property to take note of. It determines the animation's value change over a certain duration. Simply put, it determines the animation's effect. It will be easiest to visualize this. So on the Flutter Dev website, you can see that we have a variety of different curves that you can specify. And as you can see, there are graphs available to demonstrate the effects that you might be able to achieve using each of these curves. So as an example, let's click bounce in. As you can see, that is the type of animation effect that you can achieve. And what happens is that the curve generates a x value between 0 and 1 over a certain time or duration, which is from 0 to 1. So depending on the curve that you use, the animation effect will be different. And if we go back to our app, you can see that the curve property requires a value between 0 and 1. The opacity widget might not be the best way to visualize this. So let's go to the next example and go to default text style. And let's open that file. And I've already specified a curve of bounce out. So let's increase the size. And as you can see, it creates this little bounce out effect as the size increases or as the spacing changes. Same for the color. The color will also do a bounce out, which is technically not a good effect to achieve with a bounce out curve when we are animating the color, because it creates this little bit of a jaggery effect which you can't really visualize as you can when it is animating size or spacing. But this is just for demo purposes. If we go back to flutter.dev, you can see that there are a number of different curves. And by a number, I mean a lot. You can also create your own curves. As I said, this is literally just a value between 0 and 1. There is no golden rule for which curve to use. However, as a general rule, stay away from a curve that is linear. So if we go back to our example and change it to linear and animate the size, you can see it's animating, but it kind of looks stiff. It's very boring. So something like bounce out might be a bit too much, while something like linear would be too boring. A good in-between would be ease, or is ease in, or ease out. A ease out curve, for example, will start fast and ease out slow, while an ease in will start slow and end fast. As I said, it is all very dependent on the effect that you want to achieve. And here you will need to play around and see what works well for the animation effect that you want to achieve. Another thing to take note of is that some of these curves will work better with a longer duration. If the duration is too short, it won't have enough time for your eyes to distinguish the actual effect that the curve is generating, or the values will jump too much in the X attribute to actually distinguish the animation. The best resource for that is actually reading out what the different curves says within the documentation. So for example, if you go to ease and look at ease in cubic, you can see that it gives you the actual formula. It tells you what you need to be aware of when using this curve. And it will also notify you if it requires a longer duration. Within the resources, I'm providing a link to the 12 principles of animation, a very good video to demonstrate the importance of using curves in animation. In addition to that, I'm also providing a link to this website where you can explore some implicit animations that are available and also explore some of the curves. So for example, here we have a linear curve. If we hit play, it just interpolates in a linear fashion. And if we choose ease in expo, you can see it starts slow and ends very fast.